In the endless frozen wilds of the Arctic, two top predators rule, each in their own world. Above the ice roams the solitary polar bear. Beneath the waves hunts the powerful killer whale. For most of history, their paths never crossed. But now, as the ice melts and the boundaries between their realms disappear, these giants are drifting closer than ever before. And it begs the question, if the bear and the whale were to meet face to face, who would walk away and who wouldn't? If you're as fascinated by the mysteries of the animal kingdom and the incredible journeys of wildlife as we are, then you're in the right place. We're mysteries everywhere, and we bring you closer to nature's most awe-inspiring stories. If you love this video, please like and share it to let us know you want more. Comment below and tell us what you think or what mysteries you want us to explore next. And don't forget to subscribe to Mysteries Everywhere and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. A cold Arctic morning. The silence is broken only by the crunch of heavy footsteps through the snow. A lone polar bear moves slowly across a patch of soft ice, each step leaving behind a mark, evidence of survival carved into a frozen world. No calls, no pack, only wind, snow, and the deep instinct to stay alive. Weighing over 1,300 pounds and standing nearly 10 feet tall when upright, the polar bear is a symbol of raw strength and endurance. Its thick white fur and dense layer of fat beneath the skin do more than provide warmth. They allow this predator to dive into icy waters and emerge unharmed again and again. Not far away, but belonging to an entirely different dimension, glides a pod of killer whales. Not just a group, but a team, each with roles, each with purpose. Together, they hunt with strategy and synchronicity. A full-grown orca can reach over 26 feet in length and weigh more than 5 tons. What sets them apart isn't just their size, but their extraordinary intelligence. With large brains, intricate neural networks, and an ability to communicate using a rich library of sounds, killer whales are the tacticians of the sea. Standing between these two apex predators, one ruling the frozen land, the other mastering the deep. You're not just looking at survival, you're witnessing millions of years of evolution, adaptation, and refinement. These are not simply animals. They are nature's most perfect answers to the challenge of life in the extremes. Above a fragile sheet of ice, the ocean stretches out below like a pool of darkness. Silent, still, and brutally cold. This is the polar bear's home, the Arctic. Not a continent, but a frozen ocean ringed by silence and snow. Each year, polar bears travel hundreds of miles, crossing shrinking ice floes in search of one thing: seals, their primary source of food. To survive here, they've evolved insulation like no other. Hollow guard hairs that trap heat, and an 11-centimeter thick layer of fat to maintain their core temperature. Even after swimming for hours in waters colder than freezing, their claws, sharp and long, up to 4 inches, aren't just tools for traction on slippery ice, they're weapons. A single swipe can drive through thick hide and tear prey apart. One front paw strike from a polar bear can generate over 5,000 newtons of force, enough to break the bones of a full-grown seal with a single blow. Now look beneath the ice, into a world completely different. Killer whales navigate the same waters with grace and power. Their thick blubber keeps them insulated, while strong, paddle-like flippers give them tight control at high speed. They can launch their massive bodies over 6 meters long, forward at speeds of over 30 miles per hour. One tail slap can send a sea lion flying or crack a shark's skull clean in half. And they don't just rely on sight, they use sound. Through echolocation, they send out clicks and receive echoes, building a sonar map of their surroundings with astonishing accuracy, even in total darkness. Polar bears, too, have their own superpower, a nose that can smell a seal from over a mile away, even through thick snow and ice. Two worlds, two survival strategies, each honed to perfection in an environment where even the smallest mistake can mean the end. One thrives above, one rules below. but both are masters of the impossible. In the Arctic summer, the sun never sets. For 24 hours a day, light pours across the ice, melting what once seemed eternal. Cracks widen, ice breaks, fragments drift, and new paths open, where none existed before. For the first time, killer whales are appearing in waters that used to be locked beneath thick, unbroken ice. Territory once ruled by the polar bear alone. Since 1979, Arctic summer sea ice has shrunk by more than 40%. And polar bears are being pushed to swim farther, sometimes hundreds of kilometers without rest, not by choice, but by survival. Meanwhile, orcas are moving north. From southern oceans, they're advancing into polar waters, expanding their range, following opportunity and bringing disruption. Two species, once separated by solid boundaries of land and sea, now drawn into a shared zone, one that grows larger every year. And in that overlap, clashes are no longer hypothetical. They are becoming real. With each passing season, the Arctic becomes less Arctic. The so-called permanent ice is thinning. The natural walls are crumbling. This is no longer an untouched frontier. It's open water. And any predator smart enough, fast enough, and strong enough now has a stake in what lies ahead. Orcas, known as wolves of the sea, are not just brute force. They are brain power. They strategize. They adapt. They learn. When they spot a seal resting on a small ice floe, they don't charge blindly. They create waves to rock it, break it, flip it, forcing the seal into the water and into their jaws. Clean, quick, effective. Polar bears, by contrast, are solitary, but that doesn't mean they're weak. Their bodies are built to endure, with fur that insulates, fat that fuels, paws that push through bitter cold and crushing fatigue. But here's the problem. The world they evolved for is disappearing too fast. Now the line between ice and water is razor thin. The difference between hunter and hunted can shift in a single careless moment, and the territory they once claimed as their own is now shared. By necessity, not by choice. This is no longer a story about one animal. It's a collision between two symbols of survival, locked in a slow, inevitable confrontation in a world that's warming every day. The landscape is still. No sound, no wind, only snow and the waiting. Polar bears don't hunt with speed. They hunt with patience, an almost supernatural kind of patience. Their sense of smell can detect the scent of a seal from over a kilometer away. Through layers of snow and meters of ice, their bite is strong enough to pierce thick seal skin in seconds. They don't rely on a pack, no signals, no strategy meetings, just one goal, one moment, and total focus. A bear might stand motionless for hours beside a breathing hole, waiting for a seal to surface. And when that instant finally comes, one strike is all it takes. That one strike decides whether it eats or starves. During long hunting seasons, polar bears will dive deep, swim fast, and approach prey silently from below the ice. They're not just walkers of the frozen world, they are elite swimmers, predators of both snow and sea. To stay alive, they may burn up to 12,000 calories a day, just to keep warm, just to keep going. There is no backup, no second try, no team to help, only instinct, and the quiet precision of a killer shaped by generations of survival. In the Arctic, ghosts don't haunt the snow. They stalk it, massive, silent, and deadly. The icy sea lies calm. A single piece of drifting ice carries a lone animal, a pointed-nosed seal resting. The water is still. On the surface, everything seems peaceful. But below, shadows flicker like ghosts, fast, silent, coordinated. An elite strike team is preparing to move. The orcas have arrived. Killer whales never hunt alone. They are strategy in motion. Each member of the pod knows its role. The scout, the wave maker, the ambusher. Once the target is identified, there's no rush. Just a short, sharp vocal cue, the launch command. The pod accelerates. Together, they generate waves aimed directly at the ice floe, tilting it, cracking it, or washing the seal into the sea. That's just phase one. Orcas can swim at speeds of up to 35 miles per hour. Even at 6 tons, they move with the agility of an athlete, capable of tight turns, sudden stops, explosive bursts, and they see without seeing. Using sonar, they emit a series of high-pitched clicks, then process the echoes in real time, creating a 3-dimensional map of their surroundings, even in pitch-black water. Once the seal hits the water, the real hunt begins. But this is no chaotic chase. Orcas position themselves. They corner their prey. They pressure it from all sides, leaving no room to escape. Their attacks are synchronized, executed with the precision of Navy SEALs. Swift, clean, no mistakes. A study from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography found that some orca pods train their young with simulated hunts, turning experience into culture. This is more than instinct, it's legacy. If the polar bear is the silent killer of the ice, the orca is the war machine of the sea. And when the ocean becomes the battlefield, sound isn't just a signal, it's a weapon. A late summer afternoon in the Arctic. The ice is no longer a peaceful white blanket. It is a battlefield, cracked, melting, collapsing beneath the weight of change. Temperatures in the Arctic are rising nearly 4 times faster than the global average. Scientists call it Arctic amplification. The result? Since the 1980s, the volume of summer ice has dropped by more than 75%. On a shrinking floe of ice, a polar bear, Ursus maritimus, stands at the edge of what was once its familiar world. Its fur doesn't just insulate, it reflects ultraviolet light, providing camouflage in a landscape of snow. But today, it doesn't need to hide. A young beluga whale, Delphinapterus lucas, has gotten stuck near the shoreline. No mother, no pod, no way back. The bear doesn't attack out of hunger, it attacks out of instinct. Its bite force? Over 1,200 psi, strong enough to crush a skull. One swing from its front paw can deliver more than 5,000 newtons of force, like being hit with a 600-pound sledgehammer. But just as the hunt seems over, the orca arrives. The killer whale, Orcanus orca, is widely regarded as the most intelligent marine predator on the planet, second only to humans. With a brain weighing close to 13 pounds, it communicates using distinct sound languages unique to each pod and hunts with elite coordination. A mature orca can grow over 29 feet long, weigh more than 6 tons, and deliver a bite with over 19,000 psi, 15 times stronger than the polar bear. Through echolocation, it can locate and analyze prey in murky water, even in complete darkness. When it strikes, it doesn't attack blindly. It creates confusion, waves of pressure, coordinated movements, sensory overload. And then comes the kill. In water, the orca is without rival. The polar bear is a legend of the ice. The orca, a warlord of the sea. They evolved in 2 separate worlds until now. As the ice thins and the edges dissolve, these 2 apex predators are forced into the same survival arena. Not because they chose to fight, but because the world is changing faster than either can retreat. For the first time in millions of years, these 2 top predators may collide. Not out of aggression, but because nature has erased the lines that once kept them apart. And when it happens, the question won't be, who's the predator? It will be, who's left standing to tell the story? Waves ripple softly. A deep echo rises from the ocean floor. At the edge of the world, where cold cuts to the bone and sunlight visits only briefly, 2 separate worlds are now moving closer. Not out of will, but out of need. The polar bear, once king of a frozen realm, now stands on the edge of extinction. Its life depends on sea ice, on the ability to wait, to hunt, to roam. But the ice is vanishing. According to the World Wildlife Fund, the polar bear population could decline by as much as 30% by the year 2050 if current melting trends continue. With food harder to find, many bears are forced to swim farther, wander inland, or risk starvation in waters they once avoided. Meanwhile, the killer whale is thriving. It is not bound by ice. The less ice there is, the farther it can roam. Orcas that specialize in hunting marine mammals, once rare in Arctic waters, are now heading north, fast. Scientists have observed pods hunting bowhead whales, belugas, even walruses, targets that once had little to fear. And here's where the conflict begins. Orcas aren't just reshaping the ecosystem, they're becoming direct competitors. They chase the same prey, hunt the same seal pups, pursue the same vulnerable calves. So who wins in the long run? The solitary bear of the ice, or the united pod beneath the waves? The future of the Arctic isn't just about melting ice. It's about a power shift, about adaptation, about conflict, and about how far these creatures can stretch the limits of survival. The outcome may not depend on muscle alone. It may come down to who learns faster, who endures longer, and who can evolve in time. The story of the Arctic is still being written, and at its center are two apex predators, not just hunters, but survivors. Legends born from frost and saltwater. One moves alone across the ice. The other glides with precision beneath the sea. The polar bear and the killer whale are not merely animals. They are the opening and closing chapters of a saga of hardship, evolution, and relentless adaptation. Every heavy step of the bear on broken ice, every silent glide of the orca beneath a frozen tide, is proof of life pushing back against death, moment by moment. The polar bear is descended from ancient brown bears, shaped over 500,000 years to live not on land, but in a world ruled by snow and sea. Its body is a masterpiece of cold weather engineering. It depends entirely on the ocean, even though it hunts from the ice. The orca, in contrast, evolved over 5 million years ago during the late Pliocene. It has become one of the smartest mammals on Earth. It learns, it shares, it even invents. A study by NOAA has shown that orcas around the world can be grouped into at least 10 distinct hunting cultures. Each one has its own tactics, its own traditions, like tribes with unique customs passed down through generations. The polar bear may be solitary, but it holds an incredible spatial memory. It can recall the layout of ice fields and seal breathing holes over hundreds of kilometers. It may not speak or coordinate like the orca, but its silence is a form of mastery. The world is changing, fast, but this story isn't just about conflict. It's about presence, about witnessing, about remembering what these animals represent. They are not trophies. They are not challenges to conquer. They are reminders. Nature isn't something to dominate. It's something to protect. And if the heavy footsteps of the bear were to go quiet, or the echoing calls of the orca faded into silence, we wouldn't just lose a species. We'd lose part of the soul of this planet. A low growl rises from the wilderness, a question without words. There are no war horns, no spotlights, only ice, only water, and the quiet race to survive. On one side stands the silent hunter, a creature that senses the heartbeat of its prey beneath layers of snow. On the other, the ocean tactician, always in motion, always coordinated, a living machine of strategy and instinct. The polar bear can weigh over 1,500 pounds, making it the largest land carnivore on Earth. The orca, at more than 12,000 pounds, has no natural predator in the ocean. Each is a product of perfection, an apex evolved to rule its realm. They rarely meet, because for now, ice and water still draw a line between them. But that line is fading. And the question is no longer, will they meet? It's when. So who is the true king? There may never be just one answer. That answer lives in the northern winds, in every melting sheet of ice, in every wave that crashes onto the shore, and in the choices we make today. Because if one day the bear's footsteps fall silent, and the orca's voice no longer echoes through the sea, we won't just lose two predators. We'll lose part of the wild soul of this planet. So the real question isn't who wins the fight, it's this. Will we let these kings fade into legend, or will we protect their thrones? Not for them, but for all life that still depends on the cold, the current, and the balance in between. If this story moved you, share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. And if you'd like to see more stories like this, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what comes next.